Hi, hello. My name is Jonathan, and I'm a floating head because oh, that's not that's not great. There we go. Okay. All right. This man in the television, on the television, whatever the fuck you want to call it, is crazy. Oh, look, you can see the chair. Nope, not that way. This way. I don't know how angles work and being on the camera and all this other shit. And this is because the lights blind me and yeah, that I think that's all you need to know. So I made a video last time about estranged parents, and this guy is apparently a therapist. God help your patients, sir. And I don't know. I saw this clip on TikTok. I decided I need to go look for them. Marnie, I promise I won't steal your content anymore. You're never gonna see this, but it's okay. Yeah, let's go. This is awful. Like awful, awful, awful. I can't believe it.
Main reason why you actually don't cut off your parents. You ready to hear for it? When you do, you cut off your story.
Our story. What do you mean? Like, I mean, our lives are our story, I guess, but are our parents required for that? Because, when someone is hurting your story is going to suffer, when they're hurting you. So, why should we do that? I mean, like, I had this thought the other night. I was like, is this into the fucking Spider-Verse? Because that movie annoyed the shit out of me. Um, the fact that if Uncle Ben or whoever didn't die, or was it his dad? I don't remember. But like, if that didn't happen, the universe was going to collapse. And I was just kind of like, what? Like, this makes no fucking sense. So if like the this critical event, you know, and it just why is it necessary to our story that our parents must be there? Why? Um, I mean, like, I was just telling somebody over Telegram that my mother, when I was like 15, 16, I don't remember, told me that I was going to die alone of the big C and the HIV. So, do I need her in my story?
Who are you? Your new self?
Well, my name is Jonathan, and I've been trying to get better because my mother is a drain on me.
What is that supposed to mean?
It means that I would like to live a more productive life, a life worth living. That's what they tell you in DBT. Um, so you can be more effective to have a better life worth living because, usually mental health problems um, cause your life to be worse. So if you have somebody in your life that's making your mental health problems worse and stunting your recovery, what are you going to do that for? And I guess I'm making an assumption here that people who estrange their parents have mental health problems. And I'm just saying that because I have mental health problems and I believe that they are a direct result of my childhood, my upbringing, and um and that might not be everybody's story. I just think that it's likely. So, but even if you don't have mental health challenges and your parents, are awful narcissists and you think that they're making your life worse, why why should you hold on to them?
What do you mean your new self? New self without a story?
Again, why are our parents necessary to have a story? Because your story is your life. So what makes them necessary? Like, do people who lose their parents and are orphaned not have a story slash life? Like, what is this? What is this, sir?
Friedrich Nietzsche actually was asked about the eternal recurrence, and I love this answer. He said, people who are the most healthy, when asked the question, would you live your life over and over again? And with all the pain, with all the hurt, would you keep doing it over and over and over again? And he realized that the people who are the least healthy, the people that were always complaining, the people that were always the most bitter, would say, no, I would change this. I would change this. I would change.
Well, maybe they don't want to be bitter. Maybe they wanted their life to go better. Like, this is all hilarious to me because I grew up thinking one man was my father, and then when I was 23, which at that age, what purpose did this serve? I don't know. My mother decided to tell me that he was not my father. And it's like, what? Excuse me? What? And then she proceeded to tell me that, my quote unquote real father never gave her enough money. While my father, this is how I differentiate them. I'm not saying that correctly, probably. Um, the man I grew up with is just my father. The other one is my real father. And I hope that makes it clear what level of respect I have for them, where they are, where they rank. So, whoops, I thought I was recording. So I completely left out the thought there because I said that, my quote unquote real father never gave her enough money. Well, my father paid child support through the state until I was 21. So wonderful. Wonderful. Not to like be a hypocrite and go back on what he said, but like that fucking changed my story. And I feel like I did not need to know that. And it would have made my life better because when he says, "Who are you without them?" So this negatively affected me because I didn't know who the fuck I was. Because yes, our parents are part of our identity, and cutting them out is painful. But the thing is that I feel like I've never really had a mother because I never had somebody who acted like a mother. Um, and it is painful because when I see other people with moms and support and all this stuff, it's like I didn't have that. Uh, I talk about this quite a bit. Alanis Morissette has the song called Ablaze. And she says in the song she wants to keep the light in her children's eyes ablaze. And it's hard for me to listen to sometimes because my mother did anything but. So, I'm getting off topic. I don't know much about Nietzsche or, I mean, is he considered philosophy? I'm not super into that. I only know what I know, and I don't know everything. Usually I say I know nothing, which one of the philosophers said that that's like the smartest position to have because then you don't look like a fool thinking that you know everything. I don't know if I always act like I don't know anything, but that's neither here nor there, I think. But the point is, the people that are happy are not going to change their fucking life because they were happy. The people that were not happy who had negative lives are going to want to change it because it was negative. And it might not necessarily be that they would go back and change their parents because you can't fucking do that. I told myself not to curse. That's not going well. Anyways, they probably would change how they responded to the situations. Because I have fantasized about going back in time and changing things, and some of them were like ridiculous bullshit of I would, steal myself from my mother and try to raise myself better and like all this other shit, create like a time wormhole, collapse everything. But really, I would try to do better in high school. I was so depressed back then, and I had no concept of the real world and what it took to be an adult and all this other shit because she never taught me. So why would I stay with her when she was a detriment? And yes, the caveat to this is that it was up to me to learn how to be an adult, and I tried. I fucking failed. I'm still trying and failing and all this other shit. But if you don't try and fail, you're not going to get anywhere. I'm getting off topic again. But I think it's obvious. You're not going to want to change it if you're happy.
Change this. The people who are the healthiest, though, this is Nietzsche's point, actually say, I would have all the hurt. I would have all the pain.
Well, good for them. Good for you. I'm so glad that you view your life as so pleasant and wonderful that you don't feel the need to change things. Wonderful. What works for you isn't going to work for me, because I'm not a narcissist therapist, allegedly.
Because how
Don't come for me, Stephanie Harlow.
would I be who I am right now if I cut out everybody from my life that I somehow had disagreements about?
Disagreements. I think that is one of the most invalidating things that I have ever heard. I didn't pay so much attention to this when I was playing it before. Disagreements. Was it a disagreement that my mother was a money-hungry, attention-seeking... I don't know, I usually call her like a hurricane. She was a destructive force of nature. So all of the stuff that she's done to me, and I didn't like it, was that just a disagreement? When she stole shit from me and blamed it on other people, was that a disagreement? When she belittled me, made me feel like shit, and then used me to make herself look better to other people, was that a disagreement? And I love this assumption that the adult children who estrange themselves from their parents, it's just for no reason. It's oh, you didn't like the way I raised you or punished you or all this other crap. I didn't like the way you went from man to man to man, dragging us along with you and just making life a living hell.
Or disagreements with. When you cut people off, you kill your story.
Again, why are these people necessary for my story? My story is wherever it's going to go. I believe everything happens for a reason. And it's an interesting take because there is a level of, do I have free will in this situation? And I think that our choices lead to that. I think it can be divergent.
When you kill your story, you have no ability to forgive. When you have no ability to forgive, this is what happens to you.
The ability to forgive. I think forgiveness is a really difficult thing, and I haven't really thought about what it means. So in my head, what I'm thinking of right now is being able to forgive is getting past the things that these people have done to you. And I like the saying, you can forgive, but not forget. And I think that that is important for the sense of, if you keep forgiving somebody for something that they're doing, but you keep letting them do it to you, that's not healthy. So what is the sense of, if I forgave my mother and then let her continue to shit all over me? Like, what am I going to do with that? All right, let's see. Let's see what Google says. What it means to forgive. Oh, good. It's making over the... I hope that's not too annoying. Consciously choose to let go of resentment, anger, and desire for vengeance against someone who has wronged you, freeing yourself from the negative hold of the past event. So this is what the dumb AI thing has told me, and I hate this thing, but it's like, it's the first thing that comes up, so whatever. And the thing is that what I hear a lot is that forgiveness is for you, not for them. So Forgiving them doesn't mean that you have to let them back into your life, because again, you shouldn't forget what they did, because they're probably going to continue. And people treat you the way you let them. So I think cutting people off who are going to treat you badly is not letting them treat you badly.
You become bitter inside. You fail to see how your bitterness has pushed so many people away that any type of constructive feedback is immediately seen as traumatizing to you.
Is this feedback considering your feelings? Is this like what kind of feedback? And I think this is interesting because like I see this coming from a place of um your life isn't going to be enriched by my presence. You need me there to have your story complete. Like who I am an awful judgmental person, and honestly I think this man is gay. And that has no bearing on anything except for the fact that it would make it more unlikely that he has children. And I'm like, what would be his motive then? But these are just dumb assumptions. So he has to have somebody who cut him out of his life. And it seems that he only cares about how the estrangement is affecting him. I mean, there are people in my life who I'd prefer not to have cut out, like my aunt. I used to love spending time with her. But it got to a point where she would scream at me for nothing. She would invalidate my feelings and all kinds of other stuff. And it's interesting to me because she was cutting out her mother um a lot, going back and forth with it, and rightfully so. I'm going off on another tangent and losing my train of thought. The thing is, my grandmother severely negatively affected her children. And I want to say messed up, but that's a dumb judgment. I think negatively affected, it could be subjective, but I think it's more objective. She was cruel, she was manipulative, she was hot and cold. For some reason, she favored her sons over the daughters. I don't understand this shit. And her mother, my grandmother's mother, for some reason favored my grandmother's sister over her. And it's like, so even though it's coming from the past, this stuff just rolls downhill. I probably should use this hand. I don't know. I don't know what I'm doing. You know, they talk about generational trauma, and I think I just it's there. It is there. My father, oh my god. My great grandmother on my father's side, this breaks my heart because my grandmother on my dad's side, she worked so hard, she tried so hard, she took care of so many people, and oh my god, she was mean. She was very hot and cold, or black and white with certain people and all this other stuff, but um I don't know why I'm saying that. The thing is that her father died young, and he told his wife, so the great grandmother, I'm sorry if this is getting confusing, but he told, this was around the time that my grandmother was 18, so this was 1956. 38 and 18 is 56, right? um and he was dying of pancreatic cancer, and he begged his wife, don't take her out of school, don't take her out of school. And once he died, she took her out of school, and it set her down this path of working herself to the bone, taking care of everybody, and that's what she knew. All she knew was service to her parents, and it turned into that's what she expected of her children. Her mother lived with them, and it just all of those people were destroyed by this. And it just, I don't know what happened to my great grandmother on my father's side to cause all this, but it kills me so much. And it's like you can't go back, you can't change it, and if you change it, you would have been changed and all this other stuff. But my grandmother didn't cut my great grandmother out of her life. She took care of her until she died. And I feel like my grandmother suffered for it, my father suffered for it, my aunt suffered for it. And I just, like I said, everything happens for a reason, but this man is sitting here. You can't cut your parents out of your life because you're just gonna be full of resentment and you're never gonna grow and all this other stuff. How are we supposed to grow when these people are on our backs? It terrified me when I was a teenager and my mother would take Ambien incorrectly. So she would be like the zombie walking around the house. I'm sure people have heard of that. People on Ambien would go buy cars and stuff and all this other crap. And because they would be conscious, but they don't form the memories, so they don't remember what they were doing. And I was holding her up from behind so she could brush her teeth. And I was just like, I don't want to take care of this woman. And this was before I even wanted to cut her out. But I was like, I don't know. I hate this that people want to blanket tell you, you can't do this, you can't do that. Do what you need to. And as long as you're not actively hurting somebody, because getting away from people, like, and by actively hurting, I just mean like doing like cruel, evil things. Um, I don't know why I have to put caveats to everything. That's just my personality. Um, I want people to be okay. I want people to have to do what they need to survive. Is my fucking headphones turning off? Yeah, it's off. And I completely lost my train of thought. The headphones beeped, and I'm like, I was afraid of what I was doing. So I'm sorry, and I don't think I'm gonna edit this. So I apologize. You're gonna have to deal with it. This is 23 fucking minutes. Jumping out my entire life and family history and all this other crap. So let's move on.
You become an inward shell of who you really could have become if you actually maintained the story of how you became who you are.
What? Um, I don't need my mother to create who I am. I was shaped by the many men that I dated afterwards, and I like not to that extreme. I think that I think that we're all changed by the people that touch us in our lives, and of course, my mother will always be part of my story because she was there from the beginning. She was that chaotic, chaotic goddamn hurricane. So I just, this is so much bullshit. Because if you're ashamed for who you are in this moment, like what? Do you know why I'm ashamed of myself? Because my mother put that inside me. She planted those thoughts. I grew them, and now I have to kill it. It's like a fucking weed. It just keeps coming back. And I need to learn how to ignore it and all this other shit. I'm gonna be 40 and I still haven't figured that out. Um I was like dead between 27 and 34. I had no growth. I was just, I don't know. I feel shameful that I did not do more to grow, to become an adult, to figure this stuff out. And I don't feel capable now. So that's what I'm ashamed of. And yes, that is my fault for not doing more. after I got rid of my mother, after I left her, all this other crap. She modeled so much maladaptive behavior for me. And that's where I started. So two things can be true at once. She set me off on this path, and I stayed on it.
Because if you're ashamed for who you are in this moment, you think cutoff is going to somehow alleviate that pain. It's not going to.
It's not about alleviating pain. It's about not causing more pain. And sometimes you have to get away from something to fix yourself, to heal, to grow. So I don't know why you think we have to latch onto these people, why we owe them that when we need to do what we need to do for ourselves. We're in the fucking airplane and the air masks have come down and we're trying to strap it on ourselves. And, you know, our parents are fucking grabbing our arm, asking us to help them put on theirs because, you know, their feelings are hurt that we're not talking to them. And I'm sorry, the parents' feelings when we're trying to become better, when we're trying to do better for ourselves, don't matter. Their feelings are valid and they don't matter. We have to do what we need to do for ourselves.
So, therapists who will not be at your funeral, who are telling you to cut off your parents.
If any therapist is doing that, revoke their license. Because therapists aren't actually supposed to be telling you what to do in that sense. And this is what I believe. If I'm wrong, I'm sorry. Therapists are supposed to be giving you tools so that you can get over the problems that you have. Removing yourself from somebody is a tactic. And like I said, sometimes you need to be away from what's harming you to get better. So I don't feel like therapists should be saying that. And it could be helpful. So who knows?
Because those therapists will not.
Oh, the funeral. Who cares if the therapist isn't going to be at your funeral? Is the parent supposed to be at your funeral in place of the therapist? Usually parents pass away before their children. This is just a fact of life. I'm not trying to be cruel. I'm not trying to... My brain is just like a revolving door of bullshit. And I now want to bring up the fact that my aunt, on my father's side, passed away before her mother. And that killed her. It did literally kill her. It was really upsetting. My aunt lived with my grandmother her entire life. And as much as I said that my great-grandmother was a problem to a lot of this, so was my grandmother. My grandmother was not great with her children either. She tried her best. She was very controlling, though. Well, she tried what she thought was best. And when you hold on too tight, people don't want to stay there generally. And my aunt and her were constantly at odds. And it broke my heart. Even though my aunt was really annoying. Because my aunt wanted to be the center of attention all the time. She wanted to be in everything. My aunt was the type of person that if you... And this isn't the same aunt I was talking about before, and I know names would make this easier, all this other crap, but, you know, I don't think that's a good idea right now. But my aunt on my father's side was very much, I bought this for you, and now you owe me. And I think that was a maladaptive behavior that she learned on her own to get people to stay in her life, to guilt them. So I have so many tangents, and I'm sorry. Ooh, we're at 30 minutes.
Not be at your funeral. They don't understand that your story is an essential component, not only your mental health, but also about who you are as a person.
Why does that matter? Why does your parents being there matter to your story and your mental health? My mental health would be worse if I had my mother there. My sister, unfortunately, had my mother living in her house, and this was only a few years ago. My mother was drinking and would swing between telling, fuck. Now I gotta edit this. But she would swing between telling my sister that she was a piece of crap to how wonderful she was. Is that helpful? Is that helpful to my sister's story? No.
So the best thing that you can possibly do is not to cut those people off, but to learn how to evaluate or to supersede the previous story so you can have a better one.
Bitch. You're not going to get better until you get away from the people that are harming you. Because this whole video, would it be presupposed? I mean, it assumes that the parents have done nothing wrong. The parents are a little angel. Well, I don't know if little's the right word. But this whole narrative seems to assume that the parents have done nothing. And Marnie the other day, I'm just going to keep bringing up people that say things that I like, but she's like, do you cut people out of your lives for no reason? I don't think so. And whether your reasons are valid or not, or based in reality, or whatever the fuck, who cares? If you feel like you have to get away from this person, then do it. Maybe later you'll realize, this wasn't the right choice, but it just, do what you need to for yourself. Why is this so difficult? Why do we have to guilt people? Your story is gonna get messed up because you didn't have them in your life. Like, what? Excuse me?
And that takes courage. And that takes insight.
It also takes courage to get away from people that are abusing you.
That's the road to happiness. It's also the road to freedom.
Is there only one road there? Peter?
Because then nobody intimidates you. So what's your path? The cowardly one cuts everybody off. Now you don't have a story. So everybody can praise you for 5 seconds.
Does this jackass sit there and tell wives or anybody else that, I know YouTube doesn't like this word, so abuse, that they, have to take the courageous path and stay? What? What?
Or the courageous path? What do you want to do? You choose. It's up to you.
I want to survive. I want to get better. That's what I want to do. So, Peter, you can take your dumb narrative, your reductive reasoning, your invalidating BS, and you can shove it. So my name is Jonathan, and probably nobody's going to see this video, but if you liked it, consider subscribing, liking, all whatever. I'm not good at this, asking for stuff. And I think I want to continue this because this gets me riled up. All right, well, now I gotta edit this. Ugh. All right, goodbye. I'm recording this on Friday, and that storm is coming in 2 days on Sunday. So, because today's the 23rd. 23 is my favorite number. So I hope everybody's going to be okay. Stay safe. I love you. I don't know you, but I love you. We're going to be okay. We can make it. You got to tell yourself that. I got to tell myself that. We can do it. And if you have to run away, do it. Sometimes being brave is knowing when to retreat. All right, goodbye.